Hi, everyone. This is Michelle Gramoglia, the President and CEO here at Woodland Pond. And this is a special address on Friday, October 13th, 2023. This will be brief. I wanted to take a few minutes today just to talk about the feelings that might be elicited in everyone watching the sort of endless news cycle about the unrest that's happening right now in Israel and Gaza, between the Israelis and the Palestine people and Hamas. And in speaking this morning at our mental health and wellness task force meeting, and understanding sort of where the residents are or may not even be talking about this, I thought it was important to just address the fact that there are some times in our lives that it's really important to come to our interactions with each other with some extra sensitivity, some extra graciousness, and some extra mindfulness. And this is really one of those times. Even if we aren't talking outwardly about the issues that are going on right now in Israel and in Gaza, it's really probably on everyone's minds, especially among the residents. You know, this is a group of residents that have been through a lot of things in your lives. You have a lot of history. You read a lot, you consume a lot of information, you're very mindful of things. And I appreciate the fact that you have been extremely aware of the fact that it's not really good manners, in good keeping to talk about politics and religion, especially about things that might be a hot button topic. That's really greatly appreciated. I understand from the residents on the mental health and wellness task force that this hasn't really been widely discussed, but I don't think that that's an indication that it's not on everyone's mind. I just don't think that's possible. So I think it's just really important to acknowledge that this is a very emotional issue, and that everyone probably is feeling some level of emotion about everything that's going on, particularly because the images are out there so frequently in the news, in the newspapers, on social media, on the radio. Many of our residents have visited these areas of the Middle East, have family members there. Certainly, I know folks are starting to hear that there are, various threats being made by Hamas, by some of the terrorist groups about, different things, calling for a day of jihad today, different threats potentially against large metro areas. Many of us have loved ones living in metro areas. It's certainly on folks' mind, even if it's not being discussed. So what we need to do, and as we always do at Woodland Pond, is to come together and just be aware that there might be some undercurrent in everyone right now of added emotion, some fear, but just mindfulness of the fact that it's there, it's being thought of, and to be sensitive to one another, to come together as the community that we are, to be loving towards each other, to be caring, and to be mindful. Please continue to be respectful of one another and to not be talking about the religion and the politics. If you are concerned about a conversation that you're having, if you do feel like this is something that you need to vent about, come to someone in leadership. We can put together some kind of a conversation for you to be able to have those conversations, but you're never really going to know how someone at dinner or in a meeting that you're in or a group is going to react. This can be a very emotional issue for folks because of all of the reasons that I mentioned. At the same time that all of that is sort of swirling around, I also want to reassure all of the residents that anytime there is more unrest than usual, the possibility of any kind of existential threat happening, that your management team, your leadership team here at Woodland Pond is constantly thinking about what do we need to be doing to be even more prepared than usual for potential threats to the community, whether it be supply chain interruptions, possible system outages, whether it be the internet or if utilities were to go out. Certainly we're quite close to New York City. So we are also doing planning behind the scenes to not be caught unaware should something happen. That is happening actively as we speak, not because there's any specific threat, but because we don't ever put our heads in the sand. So we have to come together as a community. Please try not to get too dragged down in all of this. We have to remember that we are in a very loving and very special community, and there's something to that. But we have to remember to keep that feeling and embrace that, and continue to make Woodland Pond the special place that it is. And we do that the best in the hardest of times. So again, if you feel like you need to talk about this or vent, try bringing that to somebody in leadership or management first, because we can help you work through that and maybe find another resident that's a sympathetic ear. But again, sensitivity, grace, and mindfulness right now is what we all need. We will weather this storm together. We need to keep everyone on all sides in our hearts. This is an incredibly hard time for the folks that are going through this in the Middle East. We don't wish this on anyone. This is not the kind of thing that anybody wants to be dealing with. But again, even if it's not being actively discussed at the community, I just want to be aware that I think that it's probably a bit on everyone's mind, at least at a low level, and just be mindful of that right now. So just a couple minutes on that topic. And if anyone wants to talk, I'm in the rest of the day today. And you can always get me on email over the weekend, and then I'll be back in the office next week. Take care. Thank you.